So to make our bird work with physics, we need to add in some physics components. And first, we just need to make sure that we have our red bird selected. And right now it's named Beak Red Open 1. I'm going to rename this. To do that, I'm going to click on him and then go over to the Inspector tab where we'll be working and just rename him to Red Bird. Oh, I got to spell it right. Red Bird. There we go. So that it's a little bit easier to say and see and name. Now I want to look at the components that we have. We have first the transform component. That's the one that I just showed you where we could drag and move it around and it updates as we move the position around. We can also use it to scale the thing up and maybe stretch it out or whatever we want to do, rotate it. But right now we're going to set that back to 1. Leave the rotation alone and leave the position right around there. We're going to skip over the sprite renderer because we're going to talk about those a lot later. And we're going to go down to the add component button. Here we're going to click the button and then go under the physics 2D section. There is a physics section that's for 3D stuff and it does not interact with the 2D physics system. So make sure that you go under physics 2D instead. So go to physics 2D and what we want to look for is the rigid body 2D option. I'm going to check that and then I'm going to hit the play button and watch what happens. There we go. Our bird is now falling. Our bird is actually implementing physics now and using physics in a real world type of way. It's not perfectly real world, but it's pretty close. What's happening is he's sitting there and there's nothing underneath him, so he just falls, just like any object would if we have gravity there. Now it's worth noting that we have a gravity scale value here, so if I set this to 0 and hit play, he's not going to fall at all. Watch, he'll just sit still. And I can even adjust this at runtime. I could set this down up to 1 maybe, or set it to 0 and set it to -1 and watch him start falling upward. There we go, and now he falls upward. So he's going to fall in the direction of the gravity at whatever multiplier we set it at. The default now is 1. That just makes him fall down at a semi-realistic value or realistic speed. So now he's falling, but that's not much of a game, right? We want a game where we can launch a bird off and make him fly into things. So we need to do a couple of things. We need to first set it up so that we can control the bird and make it so that we can control which way he's flying and falling. I said first, that's really last. First, though, we want to make it so he can collide with things and make it so that when he falls and hits things, he stops, maybe he knocks those things over, so that when we launch him off, he's not just flying through things and flying through space.